Welcome back to the Alternative Highs podcast, the #1 podcast in Southwestern Ontario. That is a fact. Today, actually, let me give you a quick PSA, people. Y'all have been watching this and not hitting that subscribe button. At least 85% of you. So with that being said, could you please just go hit the subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment, and with that, on with the show. Today, my guest is a very special guest. I've had a family member of his on earlier when I started the podcast, Patrick, and this is big brother William Lanigan.
Yeah, right.
Will, man, and the fun thing is we're going to all learn about Will together because the only thing I know about Will is that he's fucking built hard. He is swole. It is fascinating when I can meet somebody and have the conversation because nobody really understands unless they're in the gym how much work it takes to get to this. Because this is 6 days a week and it's hard to maintain. What is maintaining because you're also, you go to school.
Yeah.
And you're training. So like you're in competition. How often are you in competition?
Usually for the last 4 years, coming on 5 with my coach, once a year for sure.
Yep.
So last year we did a regional show in November, the King Kong Classic in Toronto area, I forget exactly where. And that qualified me for nationals. So I have about 6 more weeks of my off season, and then we'll kind of have a little bit of a health phase, and then I'll be competing at the nationals in October. So once a year, I think as an amateur, which I am still coming up at the national level, you got to be once a year letting your body do the growing and the cutting. Your body needs that to then start putting on sufficient amount of weight. So yeah, once a year right now for the past coming on 5 years, we've been competing.
What's this is just for me now.
Yeah, buddy.
What's a you said you'll take a health rest. What's that mean?
So usually either we'll like come off testosterone and all my cycle completely because I get blood work done 4 times a year.
Yep.
Because as an open bodybuilder, yes, I do take steroids, no question there. So the biggest thing with this sport is knowing how your body responds to the drugs, because I can respond differently than you to someone else to whatever. So my doctor is very aware of what I'm doing. Obviously doesn't fully agree with it, but he understands like when I go in for my blood work, what I'm looking for, what things I want to make sure are in a good healthy range. Mm-hmm. But this year, instead of coming off, we'll just go down to a low, almost like a little higher than a TRT dose for 4 months. Let the body breathe, kind of just let things settle down, and then we'll get into a contest prep, which I think is about 22 to 24 weeks this year long, which is on the longer end. Usually like guys will do like a 16-week prep.
Yeah.
I like a little bit of a longer one just because you're not having to kill yourself with like, crazy amounts of cardio. Like last year, the most I did was 25 in the morning on the bike and 20 post-workout, the whole prep at most. And I was able to keep the calories rather high most of the way through because you had a longer prep and let the weight come down slowly. And it's just less stress on the body as well.
Yeah. So for the 24 weeks, what's that look like for you?
I still get cheat meals once a week up to about 8 to 7 weeks out.
Yeah.
But nothing. The food doesn't really change. It's still the same food as I was eating in the off season. Obviously, the calories begin to decline as time goes on. Usually, fats are the first. Fats are the first. Good. Fats are the first source to kind of like take that hit.
Yep.
Protein doesn't really get cut at all. I still eat about 8 to 9 ounces per meal, and carbs are still relatively high. Now, as the fats go down and over time, then so will the carbs slowly. But again, that's just why you have a coach, because every week check-ins, he kind of sees how we're doing. If he says, you know what, we've lost 3 or 4 pounds a week, keep it the same, don't change anything. So that's again why you have a coach to like he does the thinking. Just let me tell him what to do and I'll do it. So yeah, it's not until about the last month usually is when you're starting to like feel the tiredness. For me, feel it. Towards that last couple of weeks, we really want to get that last final touches. when you really want to dig deep, then we'll start to really cut a few things and get those deep lines, and then peak week, boom, bring it back up, and then get on stage. So
it's always like I'm fascinated like with everybody that has these really crazy regimens for whatever it may be, fighting, boxing, bodybuilding. Yeah. Like the amount of work that goes into it. Like, what's your mental like by the end of that?
Definitely, actually was funny. I was gone away on March break to Florida with my girlfriend, her sister, husband, their kids, two other couples and their kids. And thankfully we had a massive house and a big kitchen. And like I was cooking every single day. And they asked me, they're like, is the gym kind of therapy for you? Like, do you find to be your zen? And I told him, I said, absolutely. I said, obviously there's a goal in mind. Like when I train, like I have to be intense. The intensity is there. Like, the switch has to be flipped when you're, if you're squatting or hack squatting 7, 8, 9 plates aside, like you're not doing it being jovial. You have to get in there and be intense. But the longer I've gotten into sport, and thankfully, to some extent, as much as I've physically grown, I can see within myself the maturity that's kind of paralleled with it, thankfully. But mentally, it's just, I love this.
Yeah.
I love it. And, some days it's a lot, like having to get in your 6 meals and training and whatnot. But, like, for me, I know what I want to achieve.
Yeah.
And it's not if, it's just when. So mentally, it is a lot. But, with being in school right now, choosing to go back to university, and yeah, that is busy. And yeah, training is busy, and it's a lot. Like, when I go to bed at night, and I know I'm doing everything I can and checking those boxes off, that brings a level of confidence you can't find anywhere else. And it's like you with your training 6 days a week. And my brother in his running, like he does when he was running, like runs 5, 10K every day and working as a chef. Some days I'm like, why don't you rest? Like, or you don't have to, but for him, no, you just gotta. And yeah, it can be a little psychotic for sure, but that's what separates the good from the greats, I feel. So mentally, there is stress at times, but it's stress with purpose. It's a big separation. I'm not, with routine, it keeps you focused. If it was just all over the map, I'll train this time today, this time tomorrow, squeezing in meals here, sleeping in. No. When you have that routine, you're on point, you're just hitting in all cylinders.
What? And I wasn't even expecting to go. I got so many questions.
Sorry, go ahead.
What's when you're in your regimen? Like I was gonna say, how important is it to maintain even from the moment you wake up? Like,
Kai Green, who's a bodybuilder, was the first bodybuilder I really ever kind of admired, and I'm not sure if his quote or just obviously he quote off somebody else, but proper preparation prevents poor performance. So like my days, every night I'm meal prepping for the next day. I go to school, university. I have my gym bag, my backpack, my cooler, which has like usually 4 to 6 meals, depends how long my day is. But I have it all with me, so I don't leave room for error. So it's a lot. And you go to the grocery store. I don't even look at it. I just tap and walk out because that's what it is.
Yeah.
But it's just.
I can't imagine that grocery store bill.
I don't even look anymore. I just walk and they tap. They know me. I'm a regular of Walmart.
That's amazing. What are you taking in university?
I'm doing my Bachelor of Social Work with a minor in psychology, and then I'll go back for my master's the 1 year after. So it's a 4-year undergrad, and then I'll do my master's. But because I already have my social service worker gerontology I got at St. Clair when I was 18, 19 years ago, that turns a 4-year undergrad into a 3. So thankfully, when I applied, I had to do I had to give I had to get 2 references. I had to give them my my transcript, and then I had to do a letter of what was it? A letter of called, because I've been out of school for so long.
Yep.
And then I got accepted and everything transferred over properly. So even though this is my first year university, I'm technically actually in year 2. And then I just found out last week I got accepted into my professional year for September. So
good for you.
So yeah, my goal is to open up my own practice, and I really want to focus on with troubled youth and youth. That's That's my main goal, man.
I love that. When that all comes in, like, I'll be
I'm so excited, man.
be knocking on the door to see what I can do to help.
I love it, man. I think with youth, it's just, well, I was in EA for almost 5 years. So I've seen, you know, the goods and the bads with kids coming from good homes versus not. And it's very evident when they come from a good home, how a kid acts emotionally, physically, intellectually versus not. And I know as an EA, I could only help so much.
Yep.
You know, you're in a school setting, only ethically, you can only do so much. And I'm like, man, I know I could do so much more.
Yeah.
And that was a big push for me. Like last March, I was like, you know what? After this, I'm like, I am more and I want to do more. So that kind of pushed me to go back and here we are. So, yeah.
So 2 more years, 3 more years.
2 more to get my bachelor, my
bachelor.
diploma. Yeah, my I guess you would say a degree, and then I'll do my master's after, and that's 1 year. So I'll either do it here at the university, or you can do it online as you're working as a working profession. Yep. We'll see where I'm at. Either way, I'm going to do it right after, regardless. Just 1 more
get
year.
everything done.
Exactly. Yeah.
Dude, that's admirable. Like I got chills just listening to that.
It's a lot. You don't really see. I understand it to a degree of what I'm doing as I'm doing it, but it's just I'm just doing it.
But for the intention, the purpose. Like,
yeah,
I like what.
To me, it's so rewarding what I know my career can be, and obviously making more money is obviously a great thing too. But to know, because I saw a social worker when I was 17, and what he did for me, I'm like, man, if I can give that to a 15, 14, 11, even 10-year-old to an extent, plant those little seeds.
Yep.
Man, it's the longevity of that is phenomenal, especially with the world we live in now. It's just some whole things have been turned on their head, and you got to let these kids know that, like, you know, it's gonna be okay, and let them look at it in a different light, and don't be so anxious, don't be so worried. You're doing okay, you know. So
I love that. I recently was talking to a friend, and her son had some questions, and I was like, man, you know, I didn't think about this for this situation.
Exactly.
I started writing. I just started writing a list, and it's turned into a book.
Nice.
For you know, from boy to manhood, and just little.
It's a lot, man.
It's admirable. I'm excited for you.
Well, you know, obviously you getting to know my mom, my brother. Like, you know, my dad left when I was 2. My brother was 1. But thankfully, like, I had a lot of great male role models in my life. Teachers, you know, friends, parents, people from the gym. Like, I've always been a very open person. Like, I love, like, I can talk to anybody. Like, I like that. Very much like my mom.
Yeah.
And, you know, I have a lot of good male role models. And even though it's helped along a way, I know for sure, looking at myself, there are things that I lack a little bit because the father wasn't there, that I'm learning as well on my way. But also what's really cool is a lot of friends my age, having kids now, being around them and watching some of my friends turn into be phenomenal parents, and seeing that just gets me so excited. 1, to become a parent of my own someday. I can't wait. But 2, to be able to work with these kids and give them a positive environment. And yeah, because you're right, the transition from, you know, boy to man, that's a lot. Even from, you know, girl to woman, like there's so much happens in that time, and you can get lost real quick.
100%.
Yeah, so for me, it's like, man, if I can help that, be in that process, you know, from the troubled youth to even some kid that just wants to go to talk to somebody. Yeah. It doesn't matter. The impact you have is phenomenal. Just having a conversation with somebody.
It gives me, it stands my hair up. I love when people just have that in them to want to give. And like you said, you're not even a father yet. No. You will be. And it's when you have that kind of mindset already, I'm like, those are the kind of the people that just really make my heart happy.
It's exciting and obviously nerve-wracking, but to me it's just, I know, like I told you earlier on, like I know what I have a rough idea of what I want to accomplish. That could totally change the next 4 years. I could decide to go do social work or go do something totally different. Mm-hmm. You know, I still very much want to continue doing my speeches. I haven't done a speech for years, but I would love to be able to like travel, do my speeches. That's also a very much something that I want to definitely pursue once I get that platform with my education.
Yep.
And have that behind me, then you use that as well to open doors too. So, you know, there's so much still to come, and it's just, I take it day by day and do the best I can. And right now it's fun being back to a full-time student. it's interesting being in university at 29 years old,
Yeah.
sitting with some, 17, 18, 19-year-olds, and their mindset, and, why they're in social work. And because my classes are very diverse, like middle-aged women to young girls, not a lot of guys in there. And what's cool though, especially the ones in social work, a lot of us are there for a given reason of an emotional purpose too. And that's what I think allows you to really connect with classmates, because regardless if you're, me or you, like, we're there for a reason to help and have a love for humanity to some extent, whether you want to work with youth, geriatrics, everybody, doesn't matter. You're there for a reason. So it really makes class interesting, especially when we get into real, like, deep conversations. So it's fun.
That is, it's amazing. My hair's still sticking. I'm gonna put a pin in because I want to go back to your. What's the long-term goal with bodybuilding? The goal
is to the ultimate goal for me would even just to step on that Olympia stage.
Yeah.
I don't care if I get 15th, just to get on that stage once would be absolute euphoria. So the goal is to get my pro card, and then from that you can then compete in the pro ranks. So Canada has 2 pro shows. They have the Vancouver Pro, and then they have the Toronto Pro. But then I can also go stateside, which there's like many pro shows there. So obviously, when I get my pro card, then we'll look at, like, what probably do the Canadian Pro Show first. But the goal is to win a pro show, and that qualifies you for the Olympia. So even just to get on the Olympia stage for me would just be like, man, I thought about winning my pro card like a million times in the shower, crying. I'm like, because that to me is like, when that happens, that for me is the first big, like, you said it and you did it, like that. And then from there, okay, then it's what's next. And yeah, it could take 2 more years, could take 3, could take 4. I'm not putting myself in a time limit. I know my coach and I, the last 2 years, have made massive progress. My body's really been in a good responding position the last 2 years with the training and the diet and everything. So I could definitely see now, looking at my frame, I'm like, okay, I'm seeing my frame. Okay, another like year or 2 for sure, you'll be fighting for that top spot at nationals, that pro card. So it's just having the patience and the consistency. But yeah, the pro card, and then even just to go in the Olympia stage would be, you can say, yeah, I was top 15 in the world at something.
It's happening.
It's crazy. So it's just, like I said, it's not if, it's just when. So I just, every day, just enjoy what I do, give 100%, and just let it unfold as it is. You
mentioned you coach, right?
I do some lifestyle clients. Since starting school, I've kind of taken a little step away just because I got to focus on my studies. But I've done just more so lifestyle clients, which I like, because with them it's, obviously they're not going to be like me where it's like hardcore every day. So it's nice with them, give them a little leeway in their diet. And I'm learning as well too, with macros and whatnot. Because again, I go to my coach, check-ins, we talk, eat this, train, and I like that. Keep it simple. So the lifestyle clients, I've had a lot of young guys, and 9 times out of 10 they'll message me or see me at the gym, and I'll just help them out because for free. Or they say, "Oh man, can I work out with you?" And like, they're like, "Oh, how much would it be?" I'm like, "Just come work out with me. Just join me." I'm like, "I don't care. I'm not going to charge you just to train." I'm like, "We go to the same gym. Let's just train."
Yeah.
So for me, that's fun. I mostly do that just because, I'm not going to say, "Oh, I'm giving back," because I had people that helped me when I first got into training. But again, it's just passing on knowledge, because as much as this is a selfish sport, because it needs to be for yourself, if you're uplifting people along your journey, that makes it so much better, man.
Well, for sure.
Yeah.
It's I was gonna lean into like how, because you have a coach and you're doing this. Yeah. How important is that, having somebody? Oh,
huge. Like, especially the mental, because we're always in your head. Like, I'll send I'll send check-ins on a Sunday, and I'll look at myself and I'm like, fuck. You never like how you look completely. But he just says, like, he can point out things that are progressing properly, and I know that I'm giving 100%, so I know I'm going to progress regardless. So knowing that gives you confidence, when you're doing your check-ins and you're working out. So, but definitely a coach, if you want to take this seriously and give, even if you're doing your first show, or like me, you're 4 years in with somebody, get a coach. 100%. Get someone that can just take some of the stress off you, let them do the thinking. And what's nice about my coach, who Tim Love, by the way, that's who it is. You can easily find him on Instagram. People doing their first show, or like me do my nationals, he teaches the same. He loves this shit.
like
And he'll
that.
go with you to the show. He's there with you at the show. Like there's one girl, she's in her 40s, and her and I, we're good friends on Instagram, and she's doing her first show out of like, it's been 10 years now since she's last competed. And she's like, yeah, I'm so thankful. Like, he's going to be there. I'm like, well, of course he is. But like, he just says, relax. I got this.
Yeah.
And which is huge. So I'd definitely recommend if you want to do a first show or say, you know what, I'm gonna do one show in my life, and get a coach.
That's
100%.
I like that a lot. I was interviewing Emily about a month or so ago. She's getting back into
Emily
Ramsden.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
That's Sterling, right? Or used to be?
yeah.
Yeah.
And she's getting ready to go back in.
Dude, her and her prime was. I remember seeing her competitive edge.
Yeah.
Way back, like I think around the time her and Matt were together / just splitting up, and I was like, she's nuts.
Oh,
Just crazy body on her. Oh yeah.
And she's just going back into it now.
Nice.
Like she wants to do the circle back, so it's
for
amazing to watch.
Yeah.
Well, I mentioned to you earlier about, and you'd said testosterone.
Yeah.
What, like, as a 42-year-old, I take testosterone.
Sure.
And it's always that people have this weird view on testosterone. I'm like, if you're over the age of 40, every dude should be on it.
It's a very steroids in general is a very taboo topic. It always has been. Mind you, people don't realize it's in almost every sport. Like I'm looking at your picture right now, like people cycling, like the Tour de France, golf. Everyone's using it to some degree, and usually for them it's more so for recovery, and for us it is as well. And that's the main purpose of testosterone is to allow it to enhance recovery, grow faster, yada yada. But obviously we're using it for the primary purpose to put on tissue. Now, for any male, especially 35, 40 or older, because I worked at GNC for almost 4 years, they come in like, oh, what's your best test booster? And I'm like, buddy, what I sell on my shelf is mediocre. I tell him, I said, go to your doctor, get your blood work checked, and if it's low enough, good chance you could possibly even get it covered for TRT. And that would be a low dose of test once a week. But dude, that would enhance your energy, vitality. Yeah, sure, a little sex drive and a little help in the gym. But, you know, I've had so many guys come back to GNC and they're like, oh my God, man, like my energy, I just feel better, I'm more alive. And they're enjoying life more. Mm-hmm. So I'm 100% believer in TRT. And I think as we see the research being done on it more and more, it has become more popular. Obviously, in the last few years, SARMs being a big one too, coming in, is a little more safer. So even if you want to try a SARM first, or you want to go to your doctor and see if you can get TRT, 100% support, man, because for men, we already produce it already. Mm-hmm. You know, if you're going to put a little bit extra in your body, especially at an older age when it naturally declines, it's not going to hurt you at all. Like you're not taking a bodybuilder dose of test. You're taking a little bit, and that little bit for someone can do tremendous stats to their test levels.
I've noticed huge difference.
100%, man.
It's been one of the greatest things I've done for myself.
Yeah, I'm a huge believer in it. Huge.
Man, so what's next then for you? You got 6 more weeks?
Yeah, 6 more weeks of this off season, and then like I said, we'll cruise for a bit on a low like a TRT dose just to give the body a break, and then we jump into prep, which will be nice because I'll be done school and I'll have my 4 months off in between semesters. And then I'll get into prep, which I like doing. Like I said, I like a longer prep.
When is it again? Like, when's the date?
It's Thanksgiving, so like October 7th or 8th. It's that weekend, so.
So like,
yeah,
mid-October, we'll circle back and do
hell yeah.
another podcast.
We could even. I would say even do it somewhere in September when I'm 1 month out and I'll be starting school. That'd be even a good place to do it.
Yeah, let's circle back. Let's do it, dude. You're so much fun, and we didn't even touch in on your speeches, like. I the first time we met, do you remember in the parking lot while it was snowing?
Yeah.
Like where we just, dude, I sat there and I went into the gym and what you had just said to me had inspired me. It made me want to go harder. It made me want to do more. And we were only out there for 20 minutes and my whole mindset had changed.
I feel like, you know, it was funny last night thinking about this. I'm like, man, like, what am I going to say? Like, you know, how am I going to word things? But it's just what I've really come to understand, and I mentioned you earlier before we jumped into the podcast, the energy you put out is the energy you get back in. And it's definitely like who you surround yourself with. But if you're someone who's putting energy into yourself, me and my school and bodybuilding, and the attention is where it needs to be, life is gonna open up doors to you that may have not been there, if you're kind of being, a prick or kind of a jerk and, kind of like making like not the best decisions for yourself. So I find the more you put energy into yourself, and when you have those chances, like we had that in that moment in the parking lot to have that conversation, and we were just talking as you would. That's how I think and feel, how you think and feel, and we just connected, and that's kind of like why also I want to do social work, because if I can do that, but with the educated background of theories and approaches to things, and give that to somebody, like man, like the mindset you can put in somebody and plant that seed can just thrive for like 5-10 years and watch where they go from there.
I was gonna say it's probably the long-term effect. It's
100%.
super cool to
well,
witness.
it's bodybuilding. Like it's not. This is not a fast sport where you're going to see results the next day. It takes time, man.
That's the problem with everybody with
Yeah,
the taboo subject of steroids. Well, if you take that, this will happen tomorrow.
No,
bro,
man.
you still got to put in that hard work.
You got to be so consistent with it, man, to see what you really can achieve. If bodybuilding to that level is what you want to do, like you have to understand, like it's going to be months and years. You're going to see little increments of progress until you're looking back 5 years from now. Like when Tim and I first started, he took me on 2 weeks before my one show because a coach and I, it wasn't working well. So I approached Tim and he took me on, and I was 183 that year on stage, 183.4 at the show, and we got third. This past year on stage, I was 222. So you know what I mean? Like it's taken consistent years of not missing a training session, not missing a meal. When you're going for a day of traveling, you're packing your meals. When you're doing whatever, you have to be mindful of like, okay, if I'm doing this now, then I got to train then. Like it's a lot, but like again, like any athlete, like it's worth it if you want to see 100% in what you do and achieve the goal. So,
one last question for you.
Yeah.
What weight would you? Because it's a hard number, and I can't even imagine. Like, where are you gonna go? Like, where do you want to?
The heaviest weight I want to compete at?
Yeah.
Well, we've discussed it, my coach and I. Roughly, for me to get my pro card with my physique, my strong points, and my frame, I gotta be closer to that 240 range on stage for my pro card. But given that I'm 5'8", and my strong points being my legs and back and whatnot, I think for me, I would like to, at one point in time on stage, for sure, it'd be cool to be like in that 250, 260 range on stage.
I fucking can't even imagine. Because you've got tree trunks for legs on you.
They definitely been a strong point this year. We're bringing up like the sweep and whatnot and certain now little intricate things. But yeah, like I'm like 260 right now. But like, for example, like I'm bigger and leaner and harder than I was at 270 last year. And it's just every year a little better quality, a little harder, denser muscle, but that comes with the consistency of hard training and the consistency of the diet. So, but yeah, I think 250 would be at 5'8" would be like 250, 255 would be nuts. It'd be fun. That's the goal. So that's the goal, but we'll see what happens. I mean, it's bigger, it's less. Just bringing my best package. That's the ultimate goal. So.
Dude, this has been amazing. September?
100%, buddy.
Appreciate you.
Likewise, brother.